welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And we are here to talk about a disastrous preseason
I
game
don't think it
against
was
the
so
New England Patriots.
disastrous.
I
Was
know,
it ugly? Yes, absolutely. Was it
disastrous,
something
Jerry.
I wanted to go back and rewatch? Absolutely not. But is the coaching staff made this game as bad for the fans to watch as possible? Yes, they did. I mean, they made it awful for us. Can they Tweedledee and Tweedledum made this awful to watch. It was not fun. I caught myself wanting to go on Twitter, go on anything else besides watching that later parts of the game. It was just so A, vanilla. B, we were being outplayed because, well, we're playing, our second and third string, and they're still playing their starters. What? But Matt Rule is a smarter coach than Bill Belichick. So let's keep that going with his route, Let's keep, hey, there's a quarterback controversy. Let's not start these two, possible starters. No, let's play PJ Walker and Matt Corral. I'm fine playing Matt Corral because he's the future of this franchise, but PJ Walker? Yeah, no, he's not going to be here much longer. If he is here much longer, it's as a third quarterback or practice squad guy. Or, maybe he'll be delivering my Jimmy Johns later on this week. I don't know. I know you're letting me rant, but go ahead.
A disastrous game against the New England Patriots. I like how Jerry's like, I don't think it was disastrous. Here are all the reasons why it was disastrous.
Well, it wasn't disastrous on the front of the players that played. Some of them did a lot of good and stuff like that. I just think the coaching staff, again, screwed up. Shocking, I know.
Here's why I'll say that I 100% think it was disastrous. The game plan going in was ridiculous. Okay. And not the game plan in terms of the play calling and stuff like that, but who's playing. Okay. Ridiculous. How they're playing, alternating, particularly the quarterbacks, PJ Walker, Matt Corral, the only two quarterbacks that played, alternating quarters. Yeah. It makes no sense. Completely stupid. The fact that, and we'll talk about the injury in a minute, but Matt Corral gets hurt. I think that adds to the disaster part of this game. Okay. The offense looked terrible, absolutely dreadful. We'll go over the stats, but it was crazy. They scored 3 points on offense all game long. Okay. It was bad. It was awful. Defense looked pretty good. So that takes it out of I don't know what's worse than disastrous, but it's not that. Okay. It was disastrous. It wasn't worse than that. Disastrous. But what drives me insane is we go through this game. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold sit out. Mm-hmm. Matt Rule has been saying for weeks that after this game, he would name a starter. That this is when they should know. Game is over. They ask Matt Rule. He says, "I'm not ready to name a starter yet. When we know, we know." Well, then why weren't they playing? If you don't know, then why aren't they playing?
And if you do know, why isn't the backup playing?
Right. Exactly. If you still need to see more from them to make the decision, then see more from them and make the decision. Put them out there, right? And if you did know that Baker or Darnold was going to start, then let the other one play. Particularly, I think Baker needs more. He needs more reps with the team.
Yeah,
he hasn't been here that long.
It wasn't like the Patriots were starting their second string, and that's my thing.
They play their starters.
If you want to see, okay, hey, he needs more reps, or I'm really trying to decide between these two, let them go against their starters. Yes, you had joint practices, but that's practice. We're talking about practice, man.
Yeah, I mean, and I know a preseason game, you're not going to get it's not the same, type of play as the regular season or the playoffs or anything like that. Sure, we know that. But practice has got to be even less than the preseason game, right?
Exactly.
In terms of the competition and everything like that. there's no way that you're going to get the same out of a joint practice than you would in the game with the crowd, with the officials. You know, the 4 downs, you're not doing anything specialized. You're getting game situations, right? You can't practice a lot of that stuff. You just have to get to it in the game. So it really baffled my mind. The only thing I was thinking was, okay, well, he's already made his decision. He doesn't need to see these guys. He'll tell us after the game, whatever. But then he didn't. And I was like, and it made the decision to not play them even more ridiculous.
But here's the thing. If he already made that decision, that's great. You know, but play the other one. If you're
right.
I personally don't understand the concept of not playing the starters when Bill Belichick's playing his starters. Mac Jones was out there. He threw eight attempts. I mean, what? Yeah. Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler last year. I know he didn't seem like it in my eyes, but he still was a Pro Bowler last year.
They basically played him until they scored, right?
Yeah.
He played Mac Jones out there until they had a good possession. Then he pulled it. Oh, geez. Hang on.
All right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Something started on my computer. My bad. I was hearing something in my head. I was like, what are you playing, Jerry? Anyway. So that's all the negative stuff, right? Well, let's go to one more negative. Matt Rule today announced that Matt Corral has a Liz Frank injury in his foot. Yep. Panthers fans, we know what that means, right? We saw Cam had one in 2018, I think. Pretty much ended his career with the Panthers. I mean, he was out for the rest of that season, and then he was pretty much gone.
It didn't end his career with the Panthers. That shoulder injury kind of.
Yeah, I think the shoulder injury ended his career
that was the last
top tier quarterback, right? But the Liz Frank injury pretty much ended his career as a Panther.
Correct, because then it was like the Ron Rivera couldn't get anything started. He had to start Tyler Heineke, Kyle Allen. You know, right. The list goes on and on. Cam tried to come back. He couldn't.
Yeah. So Matt Corral will most likely miss the season. In fact, I think we're safe to say he's going to miss the season. There's no point. Even if he's healed in 6 months, there's no point in bringing him back for the Super Bowl, right? If the Panthers happen to make the Super Bowl, I mean, he's out for the season.
And those injuries linger, so you want him 100% healthy. Not only that, I feel like Matt Rule is ecstatic because now he's like puffing his chest out, being like, "That's why I was giving PJ Walker all these snaps."
Let me read you what he said today about that.
Yes, okay. I heard that, but
what did he say?
He said something about that. You know, that does make me reconsider keeping 3 quarterbacks on the roster because
he basically said that Corral's injury will not influence his decision on who plays against Buffalo this week, but it could influence whether the team keeps 3 quarterbacks. And we all knew that Matt Corral was going to be that 3rd quarterback kept. Like, obviously.
Yeah.
He was drafted. PJ Walker was the odd man out. PJ Walker, in my opinion, has done nothing this preseason to warrant a spot on any roster, honestly.
Yeah, he solidified me to be cut, like just in general, and find somebody else if you need to, an emergency quarterback. As much as I hate Sam Darnold and I think he's a bad quarterback, I think he's a better backup. At least the first 3 games I saw something that, you know, maybe in spot duty he could be decent, but that's it.
Yeah, I mean there is a drop off from Baker to him, obviously, and pretty much any quarterback in the league to Darnold. But there is a drop off from Darnold to PJ Walker, and honestly, I think it's a pretty big drop off. PJ Walker is not a good quarterback. He looked terrible in the game yesterday.
Yeah,
he had 3 turnovers. One of them was a fumble recovery in the end zone for a touchdown for New England to pretty much put the game away. Again, I know it's a preseason game. Who cares about who wins or loses? But in fact, we haven't even said the score: 20-10, New England beat the Panthers. But PJ looked bad. Matt Corral looked bad.
Yeah, well, PJ Walker looked really bad when he came in for our injured Matt Corral. That's when he fumbled, and then he threw an interception.
Yeah.
So the offensive line that Matt Rule has been putting Matt Corral behind, it just got awful. This offensive line does not have much at all in the sense of depth.
And it got him hurt. I mean, honestly, it basically is going to cost him the season. The Panthers have played 2 teams now that drafted rookie quarterbacks in this draft. Sam Howell, Bailey Zappi. Both drafted after Matt Corral. Both have looked significantly better than Matt Corral in the 2 games. Now, I know maybe the competition for their spot on the roster has not been as much as Matt Corral has seemingly faced here, and they may be getting more snaps. I don't know, honestly. I don't know how many snaps Bailey Zappi is getting in New England in training camp, or Sam Howell in Pittsburgh. I have no idea. Or not Pittsburgh.
Well, Sam Howell has now started getting first team reps.
Yeah, well, he looked really good in that game against us.
Yeah.
Bailey Zappi was 16 for 25, almost 200 yards passing. And did have an interception. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I thought he looked really sharp. They were pushing the ball down the field, New England was, pretty much every time after the first quarter, essentially. And I was really impressed by him. I actually thought he looked really good. The Panthers, on the other hand, could get nothing going offensively at all.
Okay, yes. Offensively, this team looked awful. I am not going to sugarcoat any of that. It's their second string or our second string going up against their first string offense or defense. Their defense is supposed to be really good this year. And PJ Walker, I agree. He shouldn't be on an NFL roster. He's not good enough. The starting offensive line, which I believe was actually the starting offensive line, I do think that was our only ones that kind of played. At least Icky was.
Moten didn't play. I don't think Corbett played. I don't think Elfline played.
I think Elfline played.
I think only Christian. I believe I saw Tecklenburg out there really early. I thought only Christensen and Icky played, but Elfline may have played.
Pat Elfline did not play. I apologize. Okay. He has no grading on. PFF came out with their blocking grades, and I have those pulled up, and I do not see him. So
I think the left side starters. I mean, I know Christensen and Michael Jordan are competing for that left guard spot. And after watching this game, maybe they should be competing. But I know, Icky played most of the first quarter, I think.
And he gave up back-to-back sacks. Very bad.
He had a couple of really nice run blocks. But as we saw, or as we discussed in our draft preview, and as we've kind of talked about here and there, his pass blocking is suspect, and he needs work in that area for sure. And
that was key. That kind of, I think, if I remember correctly, that forced that field goal. Because
I'm sure. Yeah.
Because otherwise we were driving and then it was just done. But I want to get back to the positive just because it's been nothing but negative. Our second string defense held the first string offense of New England down. I mean, they got a total of 21 yards on our second stringers in the first quarter. They ended up scoring in the second quarter that touchdown that Mac Jones, and then he went away. But I think they were already putting in our third stringers at that point. Because Stanley Thomas Oliver started, and who was the other starting corner for us?
Was it Wright?
I don't know. It was Keith Taylor. I think it was Keith Taylor.
Keith Taylor, that's what I meant to say. Keith Taylor,
yeah. So, I mean, those are Stanley Thomas Oliver, Keith Taylor are out there, Marnie Barno, Brandon Smith was out there, and these guys were shutting down the first string offense.
Brandon Smith should be a starter for us. Like, that dude is good. That dude is really good.
I love Brandon Smith. He is my man right now. Yeah. Barno looks to be...
He's your new Brian Burns. He's your new crush. Yeah.
He's my preseason crush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little.
He's last year's Frankie Louvu. Yeah, he looks great. Barno had some good plays as well. But Brandon Smith, I mean, I think this dude could be the real deal. Like he could be a starting. And again, this is he was a 4th-round pick, I believe.
Correct. And I loved him coming out of the draft. Like I said, I really wanted us to draft him. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I thought he was going to need a lot more time because he wasn't very good against the run and everything. And he's still grading out worse against the run than the pass. Mm-hmm. But I've been seeing him make those plays. He's making solid tackles. So at that point...
He's a good tackler. He's a really good tackler.
Like, overall, he's the highest graded PFF defensive player for the game. Mm-hmm. He had a 72 in coverage, a 68 in run defense. Like
68's good.
Yeah, like
that's good.
Yeah, it's green. I'll put it that way.
It's good. Yeah.
But for a rookie that was supposed to have, and he was going against again the first stringers of New England. So, guys, we may have gotten a couple steals. When I say a couple,
yeah.
I
would say maybe 3 because Cade Mays also out there, versatile, played multiple positions out there on the offensive line. I have not looked at what his PFF grades were. You can tell me.
He was not as good this week as he was last week. 33 overall.
That's bad. That's real bad.
33 run block, 27 pass block. So
that's real bad.
Again, he's out there with those 4th quarter reps, and poor Matt Corral was constantly under duress in that 4th quarter. So
still have hope for Cade Mays.
I do too. I mean, he needs to be coached up.
Eventually.
He had a really good game last week or in this week.
6th-round pick.
Yeah.
6th-round pick.
And I do have to say, Amari Barr. Oh, I think he makes the team. I think he makes it over Deontay Brown, to be honest with you. And I loved Deontay Brown last year. No. But Barno also suffered a hamstring injury last night. So
hopefully he'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be
Tay Hayes. Tay Hayes. Once again, 2nd week in a row where he shined. He had the only score for the Panthers, a 50-yard interception touchdown. So gave up some passes as well. I think he gave up 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 5 targets against him. But I thought he played pretty well. And again, he provided a big spark and made a big play. So good job by you, Tay Hayes.
Highest graded PFF score for corners. Yeah, I think Tay Hayes is going to make this. The coaching staff have to really debate who they're going to keep on this roster in the secondary, because he looks really good. I know it's so deep. Kalen Barr they drafted, but I mean, I personally would keep Tay Hayes. He looks
7th-round pick, Kalen Barnes. So not a huge deal if he gets dropped. But I mean, you're in that like Miles Hartsfield. That I think that's the battle. Tay Hayes and Hartsfield. And Hartsfield, I think, is a Temple guy. So that's
Miles Hartsfield is. Let me see. Oh, I apologize. Miles Hartsfield had the highest cornerback grade. That's 72.
Yeah. Miles Hartsfield's good.
Miles Hartsfield has his versatility. He's played running back. He's played. He's been here for us. He played for Mississippi. By the way, that's what I was looking up.
Okay, well,
I wouldn't be shocked if both of those somehow squeaked into the roster. Because honestly, you let one of those guys go, another team's going to pick them up because they offer really good depth. They can play special teams. I don't know what else to say besides they're good players. It's a good problem to have to say, how are we going to fit all these guys on the roster? Now, when I go look at the offensive line, I don't say that. But
no. So how can we find more guys to put on this roster? When you're talking about the offensive line? Yeah, and cuts are going to be coming up, so there's opportunity for the Panthers to upgrade pretty much all over the place. But Hayes, I'm gonna give him a shout out. He may end up being my hero of the game again. I mean, there's not a lot of choices, so but I assume one of us is going to pick Brandon Smith. So, all right. Well, you want to take a quick break and talk about our sponsor here, Jerry?
Sure.
All right. We are brought to you today by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. These products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped Performance Package is the ultimate in men's hygiene. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. That's 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code MeowMix, all one word, at manscaped.com. 6 million men, Jerry. That's 12 million balls.
Yeah. The performance package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, it's a game changer. I have look at that light. Just for those dark areas that you need. Lawnmower 4.0. The 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof, and also the LED spotlight you need for more precise shave in those, darker regions.
Or, if power goes out. You just need a flashlight. Or if thing's bright.
And if you get the package, you get the nice nifty little bag here, Manscaped. Yeah. Can't see it because I have my background hidden. No one wants to see it. It's a nice bag, nice toiletry bag. Yeah, I keep it. I take it with me on vacation. It works nicely.
You'll also get the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Crop Reviver Ball Toner, which will change the way you approach your hygiene routine. Trust me when I say this, fellas, your balls will thank you.
Get 20% off and free shipping with code MeowMix, one word, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off free shipping at Manscaped and use code MeowMix. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
All right, let's get back to the game. You want to go through some stats?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start.
All right. Well, we'll start with the Panthers, I guess. Quarterbacks, not good. Not good, Jerry.
Bad.
PJ Walker, 8 for 15, 107 yards. 2 interceptions, that fumble that we talked about. Matt Corral, 9 for 15 for only 58 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions for him. They were sacked a combined total of 5 times. Again, pretty poor offensive line play. We discussed that, but I mean, they had a 5.5 yard average per throw, per pass. That's bad. That's really bad. Corral was 3.9. That's get kicked out of the league bad if that was consistent. Yeah, that's terrible. It is terrible. The running backs didn't look much better.
No, and this is something I did want to kind of talk to you about. That the running backs, what the heck, man? Chuba, we spent a lot of draft capital in you. Not a lot, but we spent draft capital in you. We hyped you up. Deontay Foreman, we were expecting, something to come out, and nothing has come out, man. This is really scary.
All of this, you have to kind of take with a bit of, not a grain of salt, but just in mind, they were playing with a very poor offensive line, okay?
Yeah, yes.
At least half, more than half of the starting offensive line was not out there. But Chuba was 6 carries, 22 yards. One catch for -4 yards. Deontay Foreman, 7 for 16 yards. Spencer Brown, Matt Corral, and John Lovett have about 20 yards between the 3 of them. Bad. They averaged 2.5 yards per carry as a unit. That's not good.
That's horrible.
That's not good.
Absolutely horrible.
I mean, that's less than 200 yards total offense there.
I mean,
a significant amount less. So,
I mean, if Christian McCaffrey goes down, we're up the creek again. I mean, that's what that's telling me.
Christian McCaffrey, yeah. I mean, you're right. Honestly, I even with the starting offensive line, even with someone like Baker out there, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, without CMC, I don't think that I don't think that's good enough.
No, because yes, they'll get more yards because the offensive line hopefully will open up bigger holes. But at the same time, once they get touched, they're going down. They are not making people miss. They are not.
Although, I will say, all but one of the yards that Chuba and Deontay Foreman combined for was after first contact. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about the offensive line? All 22 of Chuba's
Okay, I didn't know that stat, but
that's
terrible. That is terrible. But
yeah, I read that right before we started talking. I read that and I was like, "Holy crap!"
Oh man.
Quickly looking at the receivers, I mean, nothing really exciting here. Derek Wright led the team with 32 yards on one catch. Kirkwood 2 for 31. Giovanni Ricci had a nice catch at the tight end spot, 1 for 21, only one target for him. Completely ready for Ricci to step into that starting TE role. Then you had Jared Scott, Rashawn Henry, Steven Sullivan, Spencer Brown, Rambo. Shi Smith had a catch, Trimble had a catch, Higgins had a couple. Just 1 and 2 catches. The leading catch guy was 2 between a few guys. So they just weren't. They spread the ball around, but they didn't go anywhere with it.
No. I mean, I know this was supposed to be a vanilla offense, but come on, man. Like,
I mean, practice something good.
Like
it. Nice.
Now,
cheer for something.
If we come into the season and we look so much better on offense and stuff, okay, I am sorry. Ben McAdoo, Matt Rule. It's for underestimating you in preseason week 2. But right now, it looks ugly.
Matt Rule's earned your distrust, your mistrust, okay? I mean, you didn't make up those clown pictures for this game. That's been earned.
If you're listening to Strictly Podcast, look at our YouTube channel for my current background that I made. I created this nice little image behind me. I grabbed a Matt Rule photo, found a clown hat, and did some photoshopping for him.
Very nifty photoshopping. Yeah, it looks like the real thing. It looks exactly like he looks on the sideline. Yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to, and I don't think you're saying this, but I'm not scared of what the offense is going to look like play call wise in the regular season. I do truly think that this has been very vanilla and that we'll see some better and different plays against Cleveland come September. But it's just not fun to watch. It's just not fun to watch as fans in the preseason. Preseason always sucks and we always get excited about it because we're going to see our guys again, but preseason sucks. Sean Chandler led the team in total tackles with 8. Keith Taylor also had 5. Kalen Barnes had 5. Brandon Smith, I think probably the best defensive player of the day. 5 tackles, sack, tackle for loss, and a QB hit. And I thought he had something else as well, but just a really good game for him. Anybody else you wanted to call out? We talked about Tay Hayes earlier.
Again, Barno, I feel like has done a really great job when he came out. Unfortunately, he did get hurt, so that kind of
Yeah, he only had one QB hit was his only stat, but I don't think he was out there for too terribly long.
No, Marquise Haynes did well. Did well in coverage too, which is something that really is nice to know. Considering he's more of a pass rush specialist. I can't speak, guys. I've been drinking. Pass rush specialist. So
yeah, he wasn't out there for too terribly long either, I don't think.
No, and he doesn't need to be. He makes a team. He's better than most of the other guys out there. Bravion Roy had another solid game.
Excuse me. I think he had a pretty high PFF grade. He was right around 80, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let me go back and check, but.
I think that's what I saw earlier.
My big thing is they keep talking about Davion Nixon. Roy is looking better. As much as I didn't like him originally, he's looking better. Yes, Bravion Roy had a second highest defensive PFF rating of all our defensive players, next to Brandon Smith. He was second to Brandon Smith. Davion Nixon was 9th, so it wasn't like he played bad. Yeah. I think both of them make the team. I think that's we're keeping 4 DTs and.
Yeah, I think Nixon is on the bubble, but I think he's on the right side of the bubble. Kenny Robinson had a couple of nice plays, but there was one play that he just got completely lost on and would have been, I think, a touchdown had the player caught the ball. It just went right through his hands. So Kenny Robinson, still some work to do. Not sure that he is a lock to make the roster. All right, let's real quickly go through New England. Mac Jones started the game 4 for 8, 61 yards. Then Brian Hoyer came in for like a series. He was 2 for 3 for 30 yards. And Bailey Zappi played the majority of the game. 16 to 25, 173 yards. Did have an interception to Tay Hayes. But I really liked him. I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't think he looked any worse than Brian Hoyer.
I think they may be working on a nice, solid backup for the future. Yeah. Brian Hoyer's like 35, 36, which is good for him. He's had a nice, long NFL career, made himself some money. Congratulations, Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, interesting that the New England drafted another quarterback after Matt Jones last year, but I mean, if you can draft a starter and a backup in back-to-back drafts, that's pretty good.
I was going to say, Brian Hoyer's probably doesn't have much longer in the league, so they want somebody.
Yeah. For New England rushing, J.J. Taylor led the team, 6 carries, 33 yards. Pierre Strong Jr., 7 for 23. And then a bunch of other guys. They ended up 29 carries for 126 yards, 1 touchdown. New England, maybe my favorite name in NFL football, Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Yeah.
Led the team in receiving. Every time I heard one of the announcers say Lil Jordan, I like that guy. 5 catches, 71 yards. Trey Nixon, 6 for 56. Nelson Aguilar, 2 for 52, and I think he had 1 big drop. Devontae Parker, 1 for 17. I mean, these are their starters. Jacoby Myers, 1 for 4. I mean, they're out there. So they ended up 22 catches, 264 yards as a squad. 1 fumble for New England. And defensively, Juwan Bentley led the team, 6 tackles, actually tied with Raekwon McMillan. They ended up with 5 sacks total. Anybody stand out on New England's defense that you wanted to call out, or we can move on?
I don't have anything else to say on the defense. They outshined us. I think their first-string defense looked really good and stuff, and they're going to be a good defense just in general. The Patriots are. But let's go ahead and look at heroes and zeros. For heroes, Brandon Smith. Point blank, I loved him coming into the draft. I thought we should draft him. We drafted him late. I tried to hamper my excitement in training camp. I even though I said he was one of the guys I looked forward to, but I'm all on board. I am no longer holding back. He's my boy. He's going to be starting for us soon, and he looks great. Brandon Smith.
Yeah. And honestly, like he was that linebacker position we've been fretting about it all preseason, all off season long. If he's going to be this good, then I'm not really worried about that position as much as I was before we knew that he was actually decent. Like, I'm pretty excited about him. My heroes games, I'm going to get it Tay Hayes. Second week in a row for me that he gets the hero. But he was the entire touchdown percentage for the Panthers today. He had 50-yard interception return. He accounted for 60% of the points. I hope he makes the team. I think he's a pretty good depth piece. I'm not saying that he's going to be the next starter for the team or anything, but if I'm looking at him and Miles Hartsfield or Kendall Wright or whoever, I think he belongs in that conversation.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I don't see how you can cut him. I just don't at this point. I think you find a roster spot for him. There's going to be really tough cuts. That's again. But one person who's not getting cut and is now back on this roster, Shaq Thompson has been removed from the PUP list and will be practicing hopefully this week. So that was one thing that was starting to worry me slowly. I was like, okay, it's been a while now. I'm hoping he gets back now. A couple weeks before the season, Shaq, this defense. I'm not really that worried about him, to be honest with you. He's gonna come out there lightning in a bottle when he gets to play.
Agreed. Do you want to do zeros real quick?
Oh, I forgot zeros. Zero, you know him. He won't be on this team probably much longer. PJ Walker, for a guy who really was competing to show off other teams what he had, he looked awful. He looked like he no longer he doesn't belong in the NFL.
He doesn't. You are correct about that. My zero, I'm going to go Terrace Marshall, actually. I know he didn't play in this game, but I think he's kind of on thin ice. Matt Rule talked about how they need to see him out there. They need to see him practicing. He started this week of practice. He ended up tweaking something and ended up sitting out the joint practices and this preseason game. This really should have been a game that he kind of feasted in. He would obviously have been the best receiver out there for the Panthers, talent-wise. But I don't know, man. Like, is Terrace Marshall any good? I don't know.
He's fifth on the depth chart now. I don't see how you put him again over Higgins or Shi Smith.
Yeah. No, I agree. So Terrace Marshall, show up, man. Like, we need to see you.
Yeah, literally show up to practice and play. All right.
All right.
We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on our show. We are sorry this is a little late, but we had family obligations, and honestly, it was a preseason week 2. I didn't want to record at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night last night, so.
Yeah, well, plus, we got some news. We got the Corral news, got the Shaq news, so I think it's all right. Maybe we'll do it again next
grades.
Week. Who knows? Maybe
PFF grades.
We'll just do this next week. Yeah, from now on for preseason, we're just gonna record the recap the next day. Let's just say that.
Unless
That's
it's
the new preseason
1 o'clock game. I guess.
Yeah, I guess. All right, everyone. Stay safe out there and keep pounding.